Adam, I got a question for you. Why do you think more people don't awaken their alpha? Because, I mean, it sounds great, right? Like, if you're in a bad place, you want to get out of the bad place, right?
Yeah, and I mean, as we do,
I know I'm simplifying it.
This is not like a depressed man's book. It's because the issue, as I talked about, 1,000 tactics to thrive. So you're going to be coming at, as we all are, at different points, and even different points in the year, you may be higher or lower, but it's to thrive. So it's not going from like feeling like crap to, you know, I'm feeling pretty decent.
Yeah.
That's not just what Awaken. It's about thriving. You know, I do think man is meant to thrive. So that's what I think.
Okay, like let's say you're getting by.
Yeah.
I say most people are getting by.
Yeah.
Right? It's not like they're the worst of the worst.
Yeah.
And, you know, there's people they can compare. They go, hey, at least I'm not homeless. You know, at least I got a roof over my head. I got a job I can complain about. I got a crappy car that I can complain, right? Like I'm on the subway the other day, right? Yeah. I'm complaining about being on the subway, right? Living in one of the top international cities, right? Mm-hmm. So it's not like complaining is new.
No.
You know what I mean? Everybody's doing it. Everybody is getting by.
Oh, don't get me started on complaining.
Yeah. Why do you think people don't want to, like, what do you think is actually keeping them from thriving?
So we can tie into what we've been talking about, obviously, when you're down low. Yeah. When you're down low, I genuinely think everyone, you know, wants to see you do better than that, wants to help you, wants to get you, you know, so you're back functioning, and they want to help you, that, you know, they feel sorry for you. But interestingly, once you've got back to like normal, surviving, for the majority, for the society, for the status quo, for a lot of your peers, family, that's okay. You just stop there. You're okay now.
Yeah.
The attitude, if you want to continue this, which is the whole point, the attitude, and you will have some weird situations, awkward situations, because if you, and this is where you really need to daily like awaken your alpha. It's that consistency. That's why not these big gestures, that consistent 1% every day and having that consistency, and then having the mental strength for when you do stick your head above the precipice, as it were. Yeah. People will try to tear you down, I'd say, because, and if you're not mentally strong enough as well, it's almost like, what was I thinking? And it's that side of things. It's conforming to the norms, you know, the 9 to 5, the expectations from your family, the expectations from your friends, you've changed. Well, yes, thank you. I hope I've changed, you know. Right. Otherwise, what I've been doing the last 6 months, you know, that is the awakening your alpha, is getting better every day. So people, the norm of saying you've changed is seen as a negative thing. Yeah. And also, I think it comes back to the deep root of why people don't, because there's that kind of that pull. But also, if me and you, like, we've gone to school together, or we're from the same area, or, you know, we've got a group of friends, if one of you then all of a sudden starts trying to better yourself, like potentially aggressively or just consistently and slowly, it can shine a light on other people, because, we can't do this. It's kind of accepted. We can't achieve this. We can't do that. For all these reasons. Right. If someone in your social circle goes, well, yeah, we can. And not like that, but they start doing it. It makes other people uncomfortable potentially, and it can make the person, very likely makes them uncomfortable. Right. So
because they're being faced with the potential that they also had, right?
Or have.
Right.
And this is the point. You know, awaken your alpha is, when you say shine your light as bright as you can, it's not to put others in your shadow. It's to illuminate. You know, everyone has that magic. Everyone has this within them, and it's just a choice. It's a decision, and it can't be made for you. And you know, it's that freedom of choice. It's not to say, you should do this, you know, that's your life. It's your life. If your honestly your goals are what you're doing, then that's absolutely, you know, I say that's fine. It's up to you. But my point is, there's nothing wrong necessarily. There's just different. If you're truly happy, it comes back to happiness. If you're truly happy doing what you're doing and your routines and whatever it is you're doing, then it's kind of end of conversation. What's the issue? It's end of conversation. Yeah. You know, if you think, as I do, there's always room for potential for improvement, or just, you know, and not even just to keep on your game. You've got to keep, you know, a daily, you know, it's not like, I washed last week, I'm good. You know, you have to awaken your alpha daily. It's important. And I suppose it comes from as well, like getting the book out and all the things like that. if you're not passionate about it, it's that difference between that purpose and a mission that you're going for that's important to you. It's the difference between being inspired and acting out of inspiration and being pulled towards it, as opposed to acting out of desperation and doing it because you have to, not you have the chance to. And that is a big difference. You can do the same amount of work, but depending on your motivation, one is like the worst life ever, and one is like you can smash through walls. And if this was desperation, it would not have got done, because that's only going to push you so far. You need to be pulled by something bigger.
Yeah, it's fascinating, because I'm always blown away by what people put up with, right? What people deem as like their normal. And I know you went through hundreds of interviews to be able to get to the stories of this book. And I remember I wanted to share a little quick story with you. Do you mind if I share?
I love stories.
You love stories.
Seriously, this is my thing. Storyteller. I love stories. Yes.
So I interviewed Brad. Have you ever had Brad Lee on your podcast?
I know who Brad Lee is. Okay. No, I haven't.
Okay.
I've become aware of him recently.
Use this clip.
I'm going to see him next week, actually.
Oh, okay. Yeah, at Cohatters then.
Yeah. I don't know if he'll see me, but I'm going to see him.
Brad, you're awesome. And so I had Brad on my interview, or on my podcast.
If I name drop Jay Wong, is in the back.
And he asked me this question. He was like, "Hey, let me ask you a question." We're like live. I was like, "Ooh, I don't know."
I'm the question man.
Yeah.
What are you up to?
All right, hit me. Right, hit me. He goes, "How early you wake up?" I'm like on average. He goes, "How early do you wake up?" Right, and I go,
I love it when people ask you a direct question and you try and skirt around it.
Do you mean on weekends? Or So I said 7 a.m. Yeah. He goes, well, why are you waking up so late? Right? He says it late. He's like, why are you waking up so late? God. and then he goes, well, look, it's not about who's right or who's wrong.
Yeah.
And it's not about what time you wake up. The real question is, are you happy with the results that are in your life? Are you happy with the business that you have? Are you happy with what you have going on, right? And I was in silence. I was just reflecting a little bit. He goes, because it doesn't, like, if the answer is, I am not happy and I am not satisfied, I am not fulfilled, then you should be waking up earlier. It's like,
comes back to that basic. You've got to take some action.
Yeah, like
and if you're giving it, I'm maxed out on action. Yeah. There's, especially like say at 7 o'clock, there is definitely scope.
Right.
I interviewed Craig Ballantyne.
Oh, yeah.
Almost the most disciplined, I think he's known as the most disciplined man in the world. He wakes up at 4:30.
Yeah.
That's his call.
Yeah.
But I do not. But, yeah, potentially the most disciplined man in the world. But I'm saying if you want massive results for certain things, there are sacrifices, and everyone's making sacrifices. Yeah. You could be sacrificing your happiness. You could be sacrificing, watching a piece of crappy TV late at night to get up earlier. There's sacrifices whatever you do, so it's about priorities and prioritizing, and that's one that we talk about here. The process in the book, it talks of there's nothing more important to prioritize than managing your time. These people who are high achievers, they don't have extra time, and the response. I agree. You hear it, and like people, I think in society becomes used to the response of, I'm too busy. And these are for important things. I'm too busy to do that. That's priorities. Yeah. No one is too busy for stuff that is important. It's just not high up enough on your priority list.
Yeah.
So I don't say I'm too busy. If someone asks me to do something or if I want to do something, the too busy thing is not a response. And I will, like you said, I will go back and ask people that questions, because if they say they're busy, because it's hiding the real reason. There's, basically when someone says they're too busy, I hear it's not a priority for me.
Yeah, well, I just don't want it.
Yeah, I'm not bothered.
Yeah,
which is fine, but
just say that though, right? Like, and I think that's
Let me just get one thing off my little rant, because just one minor thing. It's slightly related. If I ask, do you want to come for a beer? Do you want to do this interview? Do you want to do that? And you say, all right, I'll try to do it.
Yeah. I find that hilarious.
And that happens so much. Less in the circles of like the interviews and the personal development, professional development, men's development, less in that circles because it's kind of like that reaction, like, you wouldn't, but it's seen as that's an acceptable answer when it's like, it doesn't have to be big things. It's like, we just, oh, I'm going to the beach. Do you want to come? Oh, I'll try and meet you there. Okay, let's see. If you try and meet me there, you will meet me there. If you don't try, you won't. Like, I don't mind. I'm just putting it out there. Just let me know. Like, but it's that kind of, that tells a lot because it's that like minor decision and that language you're using that then compounds over days and days. I will try and start a podcast. I will try and write a book. Will not get a book written.
Yeah.
You know, I will try and start this business. I will try and get in shape. I will try and it's
a lot of trying.
Yeah.
It's a lot of effort in trying.
Just me repeating that word out is getting me riled up. I'm just like, just a little thing. I mean, and in your self-talk, if you say, I'm going to try and do this, and it's seen as a lot of times like, oh, good on you. Yeah, you could try. Yeah, you try your best. But in terms of results, and if there's a lot of things, you know, say if you was going to, I'm going to get to Mars, I'm going to try and get there. You know, there are things, okay, fair enough. Or you could, again, if you've got any respectable chance of getting there, you need to say, I'm going to Mars.
Right.
But if you're just doing things that are completely within your control, like, I'm going to try and lose weight. You don't try. You just stop eating less or eat better or eat right. If you want to lose weight, that's going to happen. Yeah. There's no trying there. I'm going to get in better shape. I'm going to get fitter. You know, it's just little things like that I hear a lot. And, you know, it is what it is, but it's a choice as well. And it's just that internal language. I think I was talking on another interview this week, and it just came out. And it's just, if you're talking about little things, internal dialogue is huge as well. And I think it's very rare that people aren't too harsh on themselves. I mean, you don't have to be a rah-rah, happy, clappy, and like Mr. Motivator, but I'm talking about internal talk.
Right.
Inside your head.
You mean like telling yourself, like, good job. What
are you celebrating small wins?
Yeah,
or
that's a tough one.
Yeah, because I mean, we met this like entrepreneurs meetup last night, and some of the, you know, what people are achieving in there, if you compare yourself to other people, you're going to feel like shite because, you know, but their goals, but how am I going to compare myself to someone who's, you know, opening a virtual reality museum in Dubai and the president of this? How am I going to compare myself? Because that is kind of their goals. That's in their direction of their mission, at least their own direction. But it's very easy to get stuff. I wish I could do that. Well, you can, but you don't actually want to do that because otherwise you'd be at least moving in that direction and taking steps. But it's very easy to get sucked into other people's like cool, you know, shiny object syndrome. Talking about fulfillment and depression, and that's an easy way to go down that route. You know, the comparison. I think there's not a person on the planet it's exactly the same. Maybe twins, but even then they've had different nurture. So
yeah, it's a bit of an epidemic, right? This whole world of social media, how people are constantly comparing themselves to celebrities, athletes, you know. And you know the artist that you just love so much, and you're and you're comparing yourself. Like it becomes a self-worth issue.
It's a bit of a cliche, and I don't want it to lose its value because it's probably been heard of. But don't compare your reality to someone's highlight reel. Yeah, and that is easier said than done. I think everyone knows that, but then you when you're being lazy or you're just endless scrolling of certain things, it does have an effect.
Sure.
And I try and put as much raw, relevant stuff, but I'm naturally, you know, a happy dude, even though we talk about depression quite a lot. But it's sometimes I had messages since the book's come out, and like literally someone telling me, you know, oh, it's all going so well for you, you're smashing it, you know, la la la, and I just went instant response. You know, I'm working hard, I'm doing well, you know, I'm on my path, you know, and I had to think, what have I been putting out? I'm like, you know, it's hard. It's not as rosy as it looks, but you know, I love the process. You know, and I've got a lot to do, and I've got a long way to go. But it's easier to say to someone, you're smashing it because of that, or because they've seen it, and then it makes you feel like crap. Like, you know, so it's easy to, people always want to distance themselves and say why you're doing something, or you know, or as I say, it's not the right thing to assume everyone else is smashing it while you're struggling, and how they, you know, the reality, you know, everyone has these struggles and challenges, and I think the entrepreneurial route for starters is relentless in that nature, but it does, you know, harden you up to it. And that's one of the things in here when we talk about failure. if you want to have a failure book, these guys, as well as being the ridiculous success, and
I thought you were going to be like, this book is a bit of a failure.
but proportionally wise, there's a huge amount of failure in here.
Yeah.
But it's their attitude to failure.
Yeah.
It's the rate of failure, because they don't like have a little pity party. They don't, they don't try it and just fail, done. And that is a very common mistake, and easier said than done, because failure, you don't have to have it, and it can be quite savage, when you put your all into something, but it is part of, if you're going to put yourself out there. I'm quite open to the fact someone's going to think this is absolute toilet or rubbish.
Man, you should be excited about that, though.
But yeah, I would.
Like, if you can't get hate off this,
I don't know how, but someone should, because otherwise I've been a bit too bland. Someone should hate this, I hope.
Well, yeah, I hope someone comments something silly, on this video and reaches out. Speaking of reaching out, as we're wrapping up here, where can people pick up when this book is coming out?
October 3rd, 2018.
Okay, so probably by the time you're watching this or listening to this,
not pre-launch. Pre-order is open now, so you can get this from now till eternity is the plan. Unless it gets pulled. Amazon across the world. Amazon.com US, Amazon.co.uk. We'll put some links in, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Reach out. Adam Lewis Walker on Instagram. Awaken Your Alpha on Facebook. We've got a Facebook group, Awaken Your Alpha with ALW. That'll be me, Adam Lewis Walker. Just reach, it's like anything. If you want to get in touch with me, you're going to get in touch with me. It's not hard. There'll probably be some links, but if you can't see a link, just do a search, and this will be on it. Yeah, this is out there. And, as I say, it took me 4.5 years of research, about 18 months of writing and going through the publishing process. And this is not, I'm writing a little bit and then I'll come back to it. This was going at it. Because I genuinely knew how painful and tough it was going to be and relentless. So I wanted to have a run at it and just try and pull that plaster off quick. And as quick as I could do it, because the motivation was writing it for my boys. It says it right at the front. Yeah. Dylan and Harrison, who one day will be men. Because listening to this, you've got stuff inside of you that unfortunately any one of us can get taken out instantly. Even if you've got a relatively comfy, safe life, nothing is guaranteed. So worst case scenario, touch wood, this book is done now. And that was massively relieving for me, because even before it got published, I said to Christina, my wife, if anything happens to me, make sure this gets published, gets put out. I don't know, you might have to go closer.
Yeah. I had to get a little close up of this.
So, and we talked about this the other night. Talking about inspiration, one of the things that drove me through when I was struggling to get this over the finish line, the relentless nature of it, especially that perfectionism. I accepted it's not going to be perfect, because otherwise it would never be out. Was the vision of my boys reading this. My 7-year-old's a big reader, and he's asking. I made sure you're getting the first copy, and he asked about it the whole process. Always asking. We talked about it. Always asking about it. And he didn't know it was dedicated to him. And I envisioned the time. I couldn't let him down when he saw that. And luckily, I managed to catch that moment on video. And times 10 what I'd imagined. And it was, I've got that now. And I think a time when there's an exercise in the book as well. A time when you were in the zone on fire. And the confidence side, and you were smashing, you was achieving, doing whatever it is. That area of genius where you were on fire. We've all had that. Maybe for 5 seconds of your entire life, or maybe for longer, maybe periods, but we've all had that at some point, they call it the flow, the zone. Think of a time when that happened, and then really focus it down to a little YouTube clip of within that, when it happened, focus on, okay, when was 5 seconds was the most impactful, and replay that video. What was the feelings that were going through your body at that time? Was there a specific stance to it? Really get back into that stance. There's a way to go through in terms of anchoring, but if you never need to try and recapture that, or you've got to perform for a TEDx talk, for example, right. or an interview or something, you can get in that state. And these all just take, because it's all about state. Anyone can be absolutely on fire, and anyone can be absolutely having a shocker. It's about the state they're in. You don't become useless overnight, or you don't become a legend overnight. You are what you are and you're working on it, but then, okay, what state did you get yourself in? And how did you turn up for this interview, for today, for talking to someone? Because that's all you've got. You've only ever got this moment. So I think past stuff, great, but like, that doesn't mean anything today. And I think in terms of you talk about what can someone do as a starting point, you make the decision for something that's important to you. Anything you do from this point, don't accept or don't do anything less than excellent. Because it means, okay, yeah, this book may have taken 18 months towards the end process, but that's because I was committed to. It's not going to be anything less than excellent. It's not perfect because nothing is perfect. So, or it can be seen as perfect because, you know, that's what it is. It's got its imperfections that someone will love, that, you know, there's something weird in there or something wrong. But I think you make that decision and you say, oh, I can't do everything excellent. Well, don't do the things that are important to you. That we're talking about. You don't have to write a book because that might not be important to you. You don't have to start a podcast. You don't have to leave your job. You know, but that I think that's a decision, and it's all about becoming it today and making that decision, as opposed to, oh yeah, I'll become that or I'll be that person when I've achieved X, Y, and Z. Yeah. To achieve X, Y, and Z, you need to become that guy today in your attitude, your actions, and how you carry yourself and how you talk to yourself and who you are. You know?
It's powerful. I mean, when you mentioned about your son the other night, you know, that moment, right? Reading his name and knowing that his dad, you know, was able to leave.
I didn't have to read it to him, but the little one, I had to read it to him, but I just saw him in silence reading it and his eyes like, bing.
Yeah. And I think like that's the end. I mean, that's what we talk about on the show all the time, right? Legacy, choosing legacy over currency. You know what I mean? And what does that mean for, and it means different things for different people, but those moments right there, you know, that moment that you forever have. You know, and so many people we get a chance to work with, like that's why we do what we do. Like it's like the big picture of like, we're looking to create something that we can leave behind, that we can say, hey, we were here. These are some of my best lessons. And even though I didn't live them personally, right?
And I did some of it. I got some stories in there.
You got some things in here.
There's a charge by a silverback in here. Not that that's an achievement, but that's in there and what I learned about that. But interesting what I mean, in this book sense, in a specific sense, what you just said there. And it's not like you have to go from, I've never done any writing to, I'm going to do this book. You can, and if that's what your goal is. But also, the backstory for this, I co-authored a book in 2013, as in I write a chapter.
I didn't know that.
See, and that was, I'm a best-selling author. However, there are like 20 other authors in there.
Right. Who is this with?
They're awesome guys, actually. I'm really close, I'm just aware of them. But it's an awesome book, but the issue for me personally, and it did what, you know, it's an absolute stepping stone, and I moved on, it did what it needed to do. But can I, with all my heart, hand that book to my son, who's a keen reader, bearing in mind there's 20 other that I had no control of, and the great mix, and it is more the chicken soup for the soul. They are linked, but they're separate stories.
Right.
Whereas this is, you know, there's people's story in there, but this is, I stand by everything that's in here. This is, you know, this is my philosophy with examples and stories of people I believe who are just, I inspire me. So the weird thing is, the amount I've been looking at this while I'm in the writing process, I was full by the end of it, and there were stages where you're just like, I can't look at it anymore. When it came out, every time I pick it up, I just dive in, I get sucked in because the stories in there are inspirational and they inspire me. But I'm saying that wasn't enough to co-author a book. At the time, it was beautiful. But then, quite shortly after that, not always searching for that new high, but I had sons, and I wanted a book that was my book and my philosophy. So, as I say, if anything happened to me, you've got 300 audio episodes of just a variety of ways to potentially thrive in life. Whichever route they go down, because I wouldn't, if I wasn't there to tell them themselves, but also a book to dive into what does their dad think, and it's a useful resource for them to read when they choose to, as I hope you do when you choose to. It's a choice, and that it says that this book, if it finds itself in your hand, there's a reason behind that. You've chosen to read it, even if someone hands it to you. You've chosen to read it or don't,
You chose to receive it. You chose to open it.
I mean, and there's going to be no. I've been down the bestseller route before. There's going to be no price drop to 1p or 1 cent on launch day, because the whole point. I don't want this to be shelf help. I don't want you to go, oh yeah, I'll grab it. It's $1 and put it on the shelf. No, I mean. Bare minimum commitment of the price of a book. I poured so much into this, and so it's not going to be that. And if it goes bestseller, great. If it doesn't, it's absolutely fine. That's not the I want it to have an impact in the people that read it, and I want it, this is an evergreen. I want this to, I'm inspired by Robert Greene, 50th Law and 48 Laws of Power, who's in the book, in terms of mastery and legacy and how he approached it. He full-time writer, professional, not an entrepreneur doing a book on the side of it, full-time, dedicated, and talk about dedication and action. Takes him about 4 or 5 years to do a book. What inspired me, and for example, this one related to me, I really resonated with this. The 48 Laws of Power, I didn't know this till I asked him. His first book, The 48 Laws of Power, came out when he was 39 years of age. And I am 39 in about a month after this book comes out, and he'd done 80 different jobs. So it's never too late. And also, you think, oh yeah, 48 Laws of Power, boom, smashed it. I found this motivating and at the same time, he said, I asked him, how long did till you thought, blimey, this is 2 years before it really got any steam. Yeah. So a lot of people would have, it hasn't worked, like failures, but it was, I think Jay-Z quoted it in a song lyric, and then also, and in the issue of Playboy or something like that, and then it just started going, and then it finds itself in, world leaders' libraries, and, it just goes on from there. So it's never too late. And, if you've gone so far down a path and you feel committed to that, but you're not happy, you don't owe anyone anything in terms of, how many people do their degree? If you do a degree and then specifically use that for the rest of their life, I know some do, but don't let
rarely.
Yeah, but don't let that tie you in. I was a teacher and I love teaching in all its shapes and forms, but in a school environment and a restrictive curriculum, and I did that for on and off for 10 years. And I love teaching, but I want to teach my own stuff.
Well, we're going to link to everything down below. I got one last question for you, but I know we have to run. Really quick, when you think of the word change maker, what comes to mind? Like when someone's like, I'm a change maker, what does that mean to you?
You want the honest answer, because I know your show, but change maker, it's literally what,
I know.
I did the rant before it. It's that, like, all you ever have is now. And I know it's hard when you've committed and you put so much down a certain path to have the awareness to maybe, are you open to, I could be wrong. I'm open to, I could be wrong.
Yeah.
And just be open to that. And then you can evaluate freely without feeling like, I have to do this because I did that. I find it very inspiring speaking to some people of, if you go down like the doctor route. I think actually I was watching it was a famous comedian. I think he popped up on America's Got Talent. My son's watching it, and he's a fully qualified doctor doing absolutely nothing to do with it. But you think about the dedication and the social pressure from his family and friends, but also the years he didn't train to do it, and he trained to do it, practiced to do it, to then have the kahunas, the change maker in him, to go, I'm going to try this. Comedian. What's your qualifications for that? I'm going to try it.
I'm willing to get on the mic.
And I said it again. I said I'm going to try it. No. I'm going to do it because he smashed it. And but to have all that, and I think whatever you've done before, it's not wasted. It's going to be an asset. Much like I'm doing this, but I'm always using stuff that I got from my past. I'm sure you do as well, and that's why you are unique, because you've done your own. You've done your own choices, experiences. That's why everyone's different. So I think that's important, and just embrace what you learned before and adapt it to where you choose to go. Change maker.
Love it, man. Adam, brother, we're sitting up close. That's how you do an interview, buddy.